Want to write your first chord progression? The secret is to use major chords from a major key. I'll explain what that is now. The first thing we need to do is work out what chords we can use in a major key. The chords in a major key are created using notes from the major scale. Each chord is made up of 3 notes. This is why you may sometimes see them referred to as triads. In this video we will use the key of G major for all of our examples. So let's use the G major scale to create our chords. The G major scale has the notes G, A, B, C, D, E and F sharp. If we start with the first note G, skip a note to B, and then skip a note to D, we have 3 notes G, B, and D. These 3 notes create a G major chord. This is the first chord in the key of G major. We label it with an uppercase 1 Roman numeral. We can then repeat the process on the second note in the G major scale, which is A. We start on A, skip a note to C, and skip a note from C, which gets us to E. A, C, and E are the notes in an A minor chord. This is the second chord in the key of G major. We label it with a lowercase 2 Roman numeral. You can then repeat this process for every note of the G major scale. This will generate a pool of 7 chords in total. This means that our 1 chord is G major, the 2 chord is A minor, 3 is B minor, 4 is C major, 5 is D major, 6 is E minor, and 7 is F sharp diminished. As you have seen, each chord is labelled with a Roman numeral. The uppercase Roman numerals indicate major chords, and the lowercase Roman numerals indicate minor chords. This means that we have 3 major and 3 minor chords in the key of G major to construct a song with. This is true of any major key. We chose G major because the 6 chords are easy to play on many instruments, especially as open chords on the guitar. This can help beginners to start their songwriting journey. Want more major keys to try out? 7 easy songwriting keys are available to make your chord progression writing a breeze. Don't waste any more time searching. Go to majorkeychords.com now and download your free guide today. Link is also in the description. We will show you progressions and songs in this video in the key of G major, but all you have to do is look at the Roman numerals used. Then you can use the Roman numeral order again in your own compositions, and the actual key of the song doesn't matter. It allows you to use chord progressions across keys, so you just remember the Roman numerals. Chords in a key are like a palette of colours for a painter. They each bring something to a chord progression, and when blended in different quantities and orders, bring new and interesting sounds to a song that they would not do in isolation. You may also see the chords in a major key referred to as tonic, supertonic, mediant, subdominant, dominant, submediant, leading tone. These are known as the harmonic functions of the major key chords. They refer to the roles that these chords will play in the key in the same way that the Roman numerals do. Don't worry if this all seems confusing and overwhelming. As we go through the examples, we will start with the simplest progressions and techniques and slowly build them up. Take your time, watch again, and practice if you need to. Also, feel free to ask any questions in the comments below. With patience, you will become more confident in your songwriting, and a lot of this will become second nature in no time. The most important chords in a major key are the major chords, with the Roman numerals 1, 4, and 5. Chord 1 is the most important chord. You can think of chord 1 or the tonic as the home chord. It offers grounding and stability. It feels safe and secure. When a chord progression arrives back at chord 1, it provides resolution and a strong sense of having finished. Many songs will end on a 1 chord to provide the listener with a satisfying feeling of completion. After chord 1, the 5 chord is the second most important. When placed before the 1 chord, it helps to generate the powerful feeling of returning home. This sense of resolution is often referred to as a cadence. A cadence can be strong or weak, depending on the impression of finality that it brings. The 4 chord can also be used in the cadence when moving back to the 1 chord. You may know this as the plagal cadence or the amen cadence. It has a slightly softer or more subtle feeling than the 5 to 1 change. These 3 major chords are important in defining a major key song. They are like musical scaffolding from which we can build out other chords and ideas, but are structurally integral to the major key. The positioning of these 3 important chords can make or or break a song. Thousands of songs have been written using the chords 1, 4 and 5. Despite only having 3 chords, these songs will have covered a wide range of emotions and subjects. Let's start with the simplest progression possible, the 3-chord trick. This involves playing the 3 major chords in Roman numeral order. Here it is played over 2 bars. Please note that we will use the 4/4 time signature in examples and songs, as it is the most commonly used time signature, with 4 beats in a bar. This simple idea could be repeated 4 times to create a verse or chorus. If we stretch out the chords to 1 per bar and repeat the 1 chord, we create a 4-bar idea. This 4-bar idea could fit nicely into a song as an intro or a short verse. There are a huge amount of variations that these 3 simple chords can fit into over an 8-bar song section. Here are a few more that provide slight variations on the chord order. Listen out for the different cadence that moving from 4 to 1 provides, as opposed to 5 to 1. Song sections are often constructed with a number of bars that is a multiple of 4. A very common one of these is the 12-bar section. It is fundamental to the blues, rock and pop. The 12-bar length is often used in song verses. It also implies a certain order for the 1, 4 and 5 chords, which listeners are very familiar with. We can also make an easy alteration to the 12-bar section by changing to chord 4 in bar 2. This is referred to as quick change blues, because we don't dwell on the 1 chord so much. Also spot the changes we've made to bars 9 to 12 to add interest. Songs will sometimes go beyond 12 bars, with 16 being another common choice. The construction of a 16-bar section could involve repetition, for example 2 8-bar sections, or it could have no internal repetition. Popular songs have lots of repetition within them to make them memorable, so if you write longer sections that don't repeat, they might be more appropriate for slower songs, or maybe a verse instead of a chorus. Want more professional sounding chord progressions? 6 ready-to-use examples every songwriter needs are available for you right now. Stop wasting time and go to majorkeychords.com now to download your free guide today. Link is also in the description below. Our first song draft isn't very interesting. Even though we are currently only using 3 major chords, we can make a few tweaks to improve it. The first problem is we are playing the 1 chord too much. Although we said it is important, you do want to save its strong feeling for important parts of a song, so the song feels like it is actually going somewhere and then returning home. 18 of the 28 bars have the 1 chord in them, which is too many. The 1 chord also features at the start and end of sections, so we feel a bit stuck or static and fixed. The other main problem is the intro. It is entirely the 1 chord. This bleeds into the verse, which starts on 1 as well. We need some more variation. If we look at the 4-bar sections of our song, they mainly end on chord 1. This means that once you've heard bar 4, you know what to expect on bar 8, and so on. This weakens the effect of the chord later on. This will be true of any chord you use, but particularly the important chords 1 and 5. Let's now tackle a few of the previously mentioned issues with a revised version of our song. We'll discuss the changes after hearing it. The first thing we have done is change the intro to the 5 chord. This helps to mask what key we are in to begin with and reduce our use of the 1 chord. It also increases the desire to move to the 1 chord, which we frustrate by starting the verse on chord 4. Chord 1 is now only in 6 bars out of 28. This means that when we hear the 1 chord, it has a bigger impact than before. The 1 chord only features once in bar 3 of the verse. This leaves us wanting to hear more of it and increases its impact in bar 1 of the chorus. We have extended chord 5 in the repeating chorus to create more of a build-up for our cadence back to the 1 chord. Our bridge is centered around the 4 chord and now ends on the 5 chord to provide the strong cadence back to the one chord, depending on what section you choose to follow the bridge. I hope you can see how a few well-placed alterations can change even a simple 3-chord song. As we mentioned in discussing the first version of our song, starting and ending sections with the one chord leads to very safe sounding progressions. If we start on one chord, then we start safe and in balance and go somewhere else. If the progression ends on chord 1, then we feel like a sense of order has been re-established. So sometimes it is useful for a songwriter to move chord 1 away from these two positions to provide a bit of instability or unexpectedness and interest. Listen to these 3 examples and spot the difference. The effect might be more subtle because we are using only 3 major chords, but thinking about this idea will become more powerful later on as we add more chords. It can also be worth thinking about chord 5 in a similar way because of its power in the 5-to-1 cadence. You've seen the chords 1, 4, 5 in order a few times already. When we play chords in numerical order, we create an escalator effect. Starting from lower to higher numbers, we feel like we are ascending or rising up. And if we go from higher to lower numbers, we feel like we are descending or falling down. This effect can be used to take the listener somewhere as it creates movement, usually leading to chords 1 or 5. So far we have only used one chord in a bar, but you can of course change this. If the chords in a song only change once per bar, it becomes very predictable and boring. This is even more pronounced with fewer chords. There are many ways you can alter the chord change rate. Let's look at a few of them now. If we change the rate of chord change at the end of a sequence, it can create movement. For example, in bar 4, before we move back to the one chord, we change to the 2 chords in a bar. We could also extend this into bar 3. Look at how this essentially creates a bar's worth of the 4 chord. Be aware of how altering chord change rate can affect the entire progression or song section. Listen to how the feel changes if we hear a chord for only a single beat in a bar. It really makes the chord stand out. There are a whole host of different options with chord rate change, so let's incorporate a few into the third draft of the song we are creating to get a feel for them. Notice how the chord rate change creates interest at key parts of the song to stop it getting monotonous. The use of one chord per beat in parts of the song creates a rhythmic feel and reduces the chord's harmonic significance. Want to learn more about major key songs? All the secrets you need are in the playlist on screen. Watch that now.